cannot follow me, cause I got that dog in me. You cannot follow me, cause I got that dog in me.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about Good Boy. In this story, we follow a loyal dog who moves into a rural family home with his owner, only to discover that supernatural forces are lurking in the shadows. The moment that the trailer first dropped for this on the internet, everybody lost their minds. They started Googling, does the dog die in Good Boy? And my definitive answer to that is, go check it out for yourself. Go support indie horror, whether it's playing at your local movie theater or when the Blu-ray comes out. Or if you'd rather just stream it, I'm pretty sure it's going to come out on Shudder soon in time for the spooky season. The premise of a haunted house story being told through the perspective of a dog was an easy sell for me because, well, it really made me start to think of my late family dog named Pika, which was short for Pikachu. And although this dog was definitely always looking into my window while I was shooting my reviews, she was definitely there in spirit and in heart. Pika, this is for you. Pets, dogs, are no stranger to horror films, but for a real-life dog to lead an entire film, that could be a challenge. And for a 72-minute runtime, Indy, the Nova Scotia duck-tolling retriever, takes the spotlight and the audience on a nerve-wracking exploration of his owner's family estate. After finally seeing this movie, I am looking at dogs just a little bit differently because for you dog owners, you ever just catch your dog just barking at nothing, probably barking into the darkness, barking at some corner in the room or maybe underneath your bed? Well, you ever thought that maybe something is actually there? I mean, either they're barking out of instinct or they can see something that we humans don't see at all. Starting off with some of my positives, Indy the dog. This is probably the most courageous and endearing performance you're going to see at the movies all year long. And what I love about Indy is the range of emotions that he puts on display. I mean, especially through the expressions of his eyes, his actions, and reactions from start to finish. And like all dogs, not every single animal responds to fear in the same way that humans do. So when he hears a particular sound coming from a room, he's going straight towards it. And you are over there in the crowd going, no, 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 no. Why are you going into that room? And when he's interacting with his owner, Todd, there is a consistent sense of humanity, some empathy, and it really brings out the heart of gold of Indy. The cinematography was just damn near excellent, especially with how they decided to capture Indy's isolated point of view while also keeping a much bigger scope of his surroundings. Take, for example, the way he goes about exploring the house or exploring the grounds of the estate. And the further he walks beyond the frame, you are terrified and anticipating the worst, but just like Indy, you are curious as to what is around the corner or what is up ahead. What may come off as a gimmick really does put you in the headspace of Indy and how he processes things, and there may not be much meat on the bone to chew for a story, but when it comes down to Indy's performance, he is just very outstanding with the way that he executes his direction and also meets his mark. Somebody told me that it was going to be a slow burn because it is an experimental horror film. And just like experimental horror films like Skinamarink, Presence, those movies have definitely tested my patience. And if I'm going to be fairly honest, with the camera work, the sound design, the special effects, and Indy's outstanding performance from start to finish, and it really goes hand in hand, I was at the edge of my freaking seat from start to finish. The way that the filmmakers played with the lighting, the shadows, and just the natural sounds of what you would hear from a crooked old house tightened every nerve in my body. And it was my fault that I underestimated the quality of scares just because it was PG-13. And I tell you, there are some subtle and haunting imagery here that stuck with me far after I went home. The entire time I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking to myself, is the dog okay? I mean, Indy doesn't know that he's in a movie, and yet he has to be in a recurring state of defense, fear, and panic. And thankfully, due to 400 production days that were spread across 3 years, due to the fact that this was shot at the director's house, and also the fact that the director, Ben Leonberg, is the owner of indie, they really made it work. It turns out that many of the terror sequences that required Indy's incredible talent were pretty much camera and post-production tricks, utilizing the juxtaposition technique where we are given two shots, one of Indy and the other the suggestion. And that results into majority of the emotions coming from the audience, so not necessarily jeopardizing the well-being of Indy the dog. Indy pretty much does his own shots. There's nothing CGI altered with him, so you're not necessarily getting a lot of like Homeward Bound, Strays, or Beverly Hills Chihuahua kind of uncanny valley. It's really him. There are a few shots that do require CGI around Indy, and one of them being him going through the glass, and I am glad and relieved that it looked as fake as it did. And a lot of the facts that I did cover are also brought up in the featurette that plays after the credits of the film, so stick around for that one. I know they could have added this behind the scenes featurette as a little extra on the DVD or maybe like a separate tab for the streaming platforms, but I'm glad that they dive into it right away after the credits because it just really puts a lot of people at ease, especially with what the dog does go through in this movie, seeing that a lot of the behind the scenes process didn't really involve Indy being physically or psychologically harmed. The human characters are still very much present in this movie, but they are either presented in shadow, out of focus, or partially out of frame. The dialogue that we do get in the earshot of the canine does kind of paint a general picture of what's really going on in this story. They did a pretty good job at hiding this element from the trailer, and it really started to piece together as to why these supernatural forces were converging on these two leads. And from like the basement, the family tapes, and the garbled conversations that Todd and his sister Vera were having really kept me guessing if there was really more than what we were getting on the surface. It is important to note that this is an independent project, so don't go expecting the biggest jump scares or the biggest special effects. The terror is pretty consistent in a way that is more atmospheric with what they suggest in the shadows, as well as a lot of the noises that are probably coming from the basement. This is not The Conjuring or Insidious, so the sooner that you accept that, the more you'll get out of this one. And there are going to be questions about the plot that are not going to have clear answers for, but you know what? I was all on board for the ambiguity. Overall, I would like to express my gratitude where many movies that do plan on going straight to the Shudder streaming platform really don't get a theatrical release here on Maui. It is just once in a blue moon, and I was very lucky enough to check this out at my local theater during the week that it was available to screen. And I gotta say, go out and support indie horror this month. Go out and support Indy's movie, especially for all the hard work that they have done and accomplished. I can't wait to see what this director and his entire team are capable of doing next. All right, guys, that's all I get to share about that movie. Go ahead and check it out if you want, when you can, how you can. Look forward to more reviews. I am Jaren Ugbanawa. Gonna want to thank you guys again for taking some time out of your day to hear me talk some movies. See you guys at the theater. In the meanwhile, take care and stay spooky.